While a race car driver is wheeling their car around the track, they have two voices in their ear, the crew chief and the spotter. The crew chief usually isn't as chatty as the spotter. The crew chief usually asks the driver how the car is and will tell the driver what changes they will make to the car. The spotter, on the other hand, is the voice the driver will be hearing the most throughout the race. A spotter is the driver's eyes in the sky. They're constantly telling their driver if they're clear or not when racing around others. Not just that though, but the spotters will also tell their driver which lane is faster, who's moving through the field, and so on. Spotters are also the biggest instigators. It's been so many times where spotters will make a situation out to be worse than what it actually is. Their driver can be clearly at fault for something and they'll place blame on the other driver. Or a driver can obviously make a mistake that costs their driver and the spotter will make it seem like it was on purpose and will encourage their driver to pay someone back on track. It's many spotters that's guilty of this and it's pretty annoying, but the worst of them all is Clayton Hughes. You know, the guy that's known for saying this.
Stage win of the year, MTJ. MTJ wins the stage. Alright, for the 6th time, baby, you are the stage winner, MTJ.
Clayton Hughes is most known for being a spotter for Martin Truex Jr. from 2015 to 2020, and while him and Truex had a lot of success together, Clayton came off as one of the biggest drama queens while spotting for Martin. Truex is one of the cleanest drivers in the sport, but it's been times to where Clayton will encourage Truex to pull some dirty tactics on track when really it wasn't necessary. He's been inaccurate about situations involving his driver, and isn't that funny because he did an interview a while back and a quote that he said in that interview was, "Just making sure not to say anything wrong to your driver during the race. You want to give the driver as much information as you can, as fast as you can, but also make sure it's accurate."
Bullshit.
I want y'all to remember that quote as you're watching this video. I want to go over some moments that shows exactly why he's the most annoying spotter in NASCAR. Let's flash back to the 2016 Daytona 500. After Kenseth gave away his chance for another Daytona 500 victory, it was down to Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex. They drag racing to the line and Hamlin just edges Truex out. It wasn't really much Truex can do besides trying to side drive Hamlin to slow him down. Clayton, on the other hand, wanted Truex to be dirty, telling him to push Hamlin up the track.
Clear high, keep coming, just a 78 inside, don't let it side draft you. Push him up the track, push him up the track!
Listen, I get that your driver is going for a Daytona 500 victory, it's obviously a big deal, but why tell Truex to push Hamlin up the racetrack? I can understand if Hamlin was turning down on Truex and took him down to the apron making contact with him, then yeah, it would be justified for Truex to push Hamlin up the track. You lean on me, I'm gonna lean on you back. Hamlin was clearly side drafting trying to slow Truex down. It was slight contact but nothing that was egregious by Hamlin. But to tell your driver to turn right and most likely send the 11 into the wall is pretty unnecessary. Some of y'all probably don't think it was a big deal for him to tell Truex that, but man, if Truex actually proceeded to do that, it probably wouldn't have sat right with me. Unfortunately, Truex actually did something that didn't sit right with me 2 years later. The 2018 Charlotte Roval. The two fastest cars all race, Brad Keselowski and Kyle Larson, controllers got disconnected on the restart, which sent them into the wall, and this opened up an opportunity for Martin Truex and Jimmie Johnson. Truex was leading, but Johnson was all over Truex. On the final turn, Johnson tried to make a move, but locked it up going into the turn and took him and Truex out. You could tell it was a mistake, but here comes Clayton Hughes making it seem like it was intentional.
That was chicken. Frank, I hope you wreck these son of a back. 78's coming pretty hard. He's in your mirror, he's gonna crash you.
This is after the race. Martin Truex Jr. showing his frustration.
Listen to this dude. That was chicken shit. I hope you wreck these sons of bitches. Man, shut the fuck up. This is Jimmie Johnson we're talking about, right up there with guys like Mark Martin, and your driver, Martin Truex, is one of the cleanest drivers in the sport. Do he not know who the guy is? How can you think that was intentional? If Jimmie Johnson wanted to dump Truex, he would have just stayed behind him going into the final turn and dumped him. He encouraged Truex to wreck the 48 during the cooldown lap, and Truex proceeded to do it. Wrecking someone doing a cooldown lap never sits right with me because drivers are probably unbuckling their seatbelts and stuff, and it's a possibility that someone can get hurt. That's why Matt Kenseth did a WWE backstage attack on Brad Keselowski years ago, because Kenseth got hit by Brad when his seatbelts were unbuckled. I'm telling y'all, Truex was becoming a little unlikable during this time period, and it's mainly because his spotter getting in his ear telling him to do shit like this. When has Truex ever done stuff like this before he was paired up with Clayton Hughes? Sitting there talking about that was chicken shit. Dude, what your driver did during the cooldown lap was chicken shit, all because your punk ass encouraged him to do it. A few races later, Truex kind of found himself in the same situation. The 2018 Fall Martinsville race came down to him and Joey Logano. Truex worked his ass off to pass Logano, and he did it cleanly. Logano needed to win to make the Final Four, so he was going to do what he had to do to get the victory. Going into turn 3 on the last lap, Logano did a bump and run on Truex and got the win. This move by Logano was fine, and this is coming from someone that doesn't like Logano at all. It was a classic short track bump and run. Truex actually still had a shot to win. Yeah, he got moved, but he could have drag raced Logano to the line, but he got some bad advice from Clayton Hughes.
Logano gets into the back. He shoves him up the racetrack. In the game, come on. Turn left on it, son of a... Come on. Hard. Finish. Keep coming low. Keep going. Checker flag right there. You want it.
Logano gets the win.
Miami, baby. Yes.
If Truex just would have came off the corner in a normal fashion, he still would have had a shot. It could have been a drag race to the line. Clayton Hughes kind of sent Truex into a panic, telling him to gas it up, causing Truex to spin his tires up off the corner and killing his momentum. Did Truex really try to turn left on Logano on purpose? I don't know. Clayton Hughes did tell him that, but he probably made contact with Logano because he put the power down so quickly and caused his car to spin and collided with the 22. Who knows? Truex probably goes on to win that race and keeps Logano out of the championship 4. Even if Logano blows Truex doors off at Homestead, it wouldn't have been for the championship, just a race win. Truex finished second to Logano in that race, but is the 2018 champion. This could have been the case had Truex got up off the corner in a normal fashion at Martinsville. So congratulations Clayton Hughes for giving your driver some bad advice. Remember when I said earlier that spotters try to place blame on another driver even if their driver is clearly at fault? That was the case at Darlington in the 2020 Southern 500. Truex and Chase Elliott was battling late in the race for the win, and Truex was going for the pass going into turn 1 and wasn't clear and came up on Chase Elliott. Even though Radioactive didn't capture this, it was said that Clayton Hughes blamed that on Chase Elliott, him repeating, "He hit you," over the radio. Once again, Radioactive didn't capture this audio, but I can definitely hear Clayton Hughes saying this, and he most likely did, which wouldn't surprise me. I bet when a lot of y'all saw the thumbnail to this video, y'all thought I was talking about Brett Griffin, huh? He's not necessarily annoying as a spotter, but just a guy that has terrible takes on things about the sport. But when it comes to being on that spotter stand spotting for a driver, Clayton Hughes is by far the most annoying spotter. Nobody comes close. And I get it, every spotter instigates, but Clayton Hughes takes it to another level. It sucks that Truex never questioned Clayton and just bought into everything that he was telling him because, like I said earlier, Truex was becoming unlikable for a little while only because Clayton Hughes was egging him on to do certain things on track that was uncharacteristic for Truex. But that's who I found to be the most annoying spotter in NASCAR. Who are some spotters that you find annoying? Let me know in the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and roll up out of here. Y'all have a good one. Peace.